Morning, how you doing?
Well, after the start we've had this morning again, I think a relaxing bike ride is in order.
Definitely nice, relaxing bike ride down to take a look at our new farms because obviously this is the first episode, and if you didn't watch episode 0, go back watch that.
Yes, absolutely. It was a very good
Uh,
watch.
it was. Let's go. It's,
Race you.
these are very, very unstable. I'm gonna. Oh,
Have you
this
crashed
is where I
already?
crashed last time. No, yes, but I'm not stuck this time.
At least I might win
There we
something.
go. Comedy gold right there. Uh, So I guess since last time we have added a few bits in. We did the ask the audience about loans, and there was a resounding 2-1 in favour because commenting on both videos to try and cast a vote doesn't count.
No.
Which way are we going?
This way, I think.
Yeah, I can see a building.
Yes, we're heading in the
Um,
right direction.
so what we've agreed is that we can have up to £75,000 as a loan. Obviously needs to be repaid to count as winning, but that does give us the option to buy more stuff if we need to, but not quite enough to buy a plot of land yet.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable amount, as you say. It's not enough to afford a plot of land, and it's not going to get you a stupidly sized tractor or
No,
implements.
and we've added in the lumberjack mod as well, so that we can tidy up the trees easily, and I can use super strength like cheaty Mr. Kartik was last time.
So you got to try and make it fair somehow.
Yeah. Um, I think we just crack on because we've spent a lot of time trying to sort town stuff out.
Yes, it's not conducive to a stress-free morning, is it? Really?
It is not. No, it is not.
Look at me with the
Um,
big words.
yeah, I'm impressed. I'm amazed. I'm managing words at the moment. So,
Right
uh,
then, I will. I'll catch you in a couple of minutes, mate.
yeah, have fun.
And you. Bye for now. Well, good morning, everybody, and here we are back on the Western Wilds with Disturbed. So, overnight, the soybeans have grown. So, what we need to do is crack on and get some fertiliser on them because we need to get as much yield out of them as is possible. So, we're going to hook up to the front loader and the fertiliser spreader and get up to the store. So, we've both got exactly the same idea here. Copycat.
I was just saying how we can use the in-game chat so that we can let other people know when we want to talk to them, rather than just talking over them.
I'm very sorry. One moment.
It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, we obviously both had exactly the same idea. You can't just stop in the road like that.
I was typing on the in-game chat to let you know I wanted to talk to you.
It was very, very nice of you. Very nice of you.
Thank you.
Those bikes were utter comedy.
I did enjoy that. It's like I said, it was a welcome. Oh, sorry. It was a welcome relief to get in and actually do some recording rather than struggling with sound.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a consistent battle every time we start.
Yes. Although now I think we know what. Well, I know what my problem was. It wasn't you this time, was it? So
Next next week it'll be me, no doubt.
quite possibly. I can't remember what these size were. Was it 1,000? No.
The bags are 1,000. The spreader holds two and a bit.
Oh, I
Uh, I'm I'm
didn't need my front
expecting
loader then.
I'm expecting to see you doing a comedy moment of driving around with 15 bags of fertilizer hanging off the pallet forks.
That right? You're only jealous because that was an awesome idea.
It was. I do at least have pictures of it before you crashed.
Yeah, before the bags decided to depart the forks.
Yeah. If it's stupid but it works, it's not stupid.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think that's what happens when you get engineers playing rather than real farmers playing.
Yeah. I think it was one of those, because we were on a server where there was no super strength and you can't lift stuff up and just chuck it on the trailer or whatever. I thought, well, why not?
Yeah, it's going to be weird playing with super strength actually, because it's not something that I normally play with active all the time. Should be it's going to make some things a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. I think it. Yeah, it's one of those ones, isn't it? It does make things easier and slightly less painful for people to watch sometimes.
Yeah, possibly. I guess you don't have to watch me spend half an hour trying to load bits of wood on a trailer.
It wasn't a dig.
No, no. Well, normally I would edit them out, but I'm trying not to do that. So
No, I like the fact that, you know, it seems lately that quite a few YouTubers and content creators, whichever you want to call them, are leaving bloopers in. You know, and you know, at the end of the day, we're only human. It is a game. Things are going to go wrong, and you can't always edit them out.
no, and they seem quite popular to be honest. The me parking a rather expensive sugar beet harvester at the bottom of a river seemed to be one of my. I think it's one of my finest moments.
That was quite funny, I have to admit.
It wasn't from my side when I couldn't even pick the damn thing up.
Oh
For
dear.
some reason, I couldn't even use super strength to pick it up. It was just stuck completely. I tried driving it down the riverbed. Um, in the end, it just got reset. In fact, no, in the end, I just killed the game and it hadn't saved. So,
Oh, that's all right then. At least you got it back. Okay, so that is all fertilised.
I'm not pressing push to talk. I've got a video coming out in on Greenland's next, which is working in those same two fields, and I was so paranoid about sticking it in the lake.
I think as well, when you use the stuff that Courseplay does and auto drive, if you've not got the speed set right. I mean, I had one on Carmston where the JCB fast track decided to beach itself on somebody's wall.
Yep, yeah. There's it's not again. I've just done a Calmston video as well, and I was trying to use auto drive to cart on a contract, and I didn't get it on video, but I've got a picture of a Fendt 1050 beached on a wall where auto drive just didn't seem to turn around the corner.
Hence my point about it being a game and things go wrong. It's
Yeah,
hilarious sometimes.
yeah, and I think sometimes it's fun to leave those things in, and I never used to. I used to hate when they happened, and I used to work really hard to edit them out until I left one in of I think it was auto drop. It was follow me getting stuck on a tree on Chellington,
Yeah,
and it was really popular. So I've just kept leaving them in after that.
that's what I mean. I just think there is. It's that human element to it, isn't it? You know how we do make mistakes more often probably than not. So
Yeah, and they're all the mistakes that you make when you're playing when you're not doing stuff like this. So it's I think some of them are funny. Some of them are just damn frustrating. The sugar beet harvester when it happened was really frustrating, and I could have well, I did quite happily turn it off and walk away, but um,
I know what you mean.
yeah,
I'm getting
the,
like that with sound. I need to walk away for a minute
yeah,
before I do something rash.
Also, there are a lot of things I can't talk and do at the same time.
Breathe.
Usually type, usually use a front loader, and also do stuff in the store.
Yes, it's not the easiest, especially when you're trying to set GPS or something as well. So we're just going to continue trying to get this massive field ploughed in a bit more, and I think what we'll do is we'll try and do as much as we can without it getting boring, and then we may look into seeing if those trees are ours, because that may provide us a little bit more of an income. We are going to, like Disturb said, we've got the lumberjack mod in now, so we can get rid of little trees like this, get rid of the stumps, just to, you know, make it a bit easier on us, and hopefully try and make it a bit of a more pleasant viewing experience for you guys as well. So I'm just going to go and purchase a chainsaw, and I'll be back in a second. Right, we've got the Husqvarna, and we can just get rid of this tree. There we go. Right, we can continue ploughing. Let's get some work done for today. So, time is on, times 5, as we said in the last video. Should get us a good day's worth of recording and work done, and also we progress at a reasonable rate as well. If we can get the tractor to speed up, there we go. It's going to be easier on the longer runs, give it more chance to get going. There we go, brilliant. Right, I'm going to stick this on a bit of a time lapse, and I'll catch you in a minute.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
I have to say, this little tractor is doing such a good job. And the turning circle's really good.
Yeah, I'm so far I'm impressed with it. It's also fast enough that it's not too bad to actually go places.
Yes. What was it, 20, 21? Yeah.
20 years, it's doing about 22. So
Downhill with a good wind.
on the flat with not very much behind it.
So I can't actually see what you're on with today, apart from you were razzing around with a trailer.
Trying to make some money at the moment, but I seem to be missing a trigger.
Oh, where?
Down at the train station. So I think I found it.
It's by the door on the cabin, I think, from watching Mr. CDP.
Yeah, it's not where the trigger crops up. I've not seen that Mr. CDP episode yet, so
Sorry, spoiler alert.
there's no point me watching it now.
I think he might disagree with that.
I'm also seeing the same thing that he saw in his videos.
That logging
was,
isn't actually profitable.
Yeah, I have just made a monstrous amount of money from the 3 trees that I cut down off my plot of land.
I think you might be telling porkies.
It was less than the chainsaw cost.
Oh, that's not so good.
No, that's and I should have. I had assumed he was playing on hard difficulty, but it appears not. And I think it means probably, trying to diversify into logging is not a viable option if you want to make money.
Well, it was only at the start that I was looking at cutting down some of the trees that I think are on my plot, but I might not actually bother now.
Yeah, I think you've got about 3 or 4 decent-sized trees on the corner of your plot of land, haven't you? And they might bring you a bit in, but I cut down 3 of the kind of little straggly trees that are in the middle of the plot, and yeah, I think it was £900.
Oh, I just deleted mine.
That's just lazy, and what that means is from a distance you'll probably still see them.
Not quite yet, but I've had that on Calmston when I was just messing around on my own save, and yeah, you could see them in the distance.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you haven't done the one that's right on the edge of your field yet, because I can still see that.
No, not yet. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I thought I'd come and say hello as I was being lazy and took a shortcut across the map to get back.
Was it a long drive or was it reasonable?
It's reasonable. It's not too bad. And I think if you went seriously into logging, it might be worth it because those trees really don't have a lot of wood in them.
Yeah. There was I can't remember who commented or mentioned to Mr. CDP about how giants had reduced the tree densities.
That is entirely possible that there's less wood in the trees.
I think it was something like 35% they've reduced it by.
Because the only serious logging that I've done in 22 is in the survival series, and I've not updated that map since I started because I'd done some edits to it and I didn't want to change it. So it's entirely possible that because I was making good money on there from logging.
Yeah, logging in 19 was really lucrative. Wood chips and logs.
Yeah. So it's entirely possible that they have changed it, and this is the first time that I'm really noticing it because I don't do a lot of forestry. It's not something that really excites me.
No, I like the big kit and, clearing the odd tree every now and again, possibly if you need to, but it's not something that I could do full time, I don't think.
No, the survival challenge was really pushing my limit sometimes of how much logging I could face, particularly as I was loading all the logs with a log fork. And I didn't have any big kit. When I did some on 19 on Oak Hill, and there was a little tree harvester that was really reasonably priced, and that wasn't too bad, particularly as I think I used an auto load log trailer for a bunch of that, so you could just harvest them to 8-meter logs, auto load them onto a trailer and crack on, and that was quite good, and it was reasonably profitable.
Yeah, there's an auto load wood thing out now, isn't there? Is it the Ponzi? ones, I think.
There's the Ponzi, and there's also the auto load versions of the Fleagle log trailer.
Yeah, very, very cheaty, but could make it fun.
Yeah, I'm just not sure it would be worth it on here because I guess if you just bought the trailer or leased the trailer and brought a plot of land with a lot of wood on, if you could process it quick enough, but processing logs by hand is quite painful.
Yeah, it is labour intensive, isn't it?
Yeah, and particularly if you're trying to get them to any sort of consistent length, you're really going to struggle with just a chainsaw.
Yeah, very true. And as well, if you are on console and haven't got um, super strength, you're not going to get the money from the longer lengths, are you?
Yeah, and that does make a bit. Well, if you're using auto load, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that bit's true. Yeah.
Um, as long as you can get your trailer to where you've cut them up, it's not so bad. And that's what I was doing on Oak Hill. I was basically harvesting big piles of logs and then auto loading them.
Ah, did you ever record that series?
Yeah, it was the first one that I started to speak on.
Oh, okay. I'll be honest, I haven't gone back and looked through your back catalogue. I mean, that sounds really wrong. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it was quite a fun series. It's the first time I did beef cattle. And yes, I did a whole season's maize plus uh, no precision farming beef cattle thing just to see if I could make money out of raising beef cattle with seasons, and it's quite good. It's a really nice map. It's one of Lancy's better maps.
okay. Oh. Well, there you go, everybody. If you haven't already, go back and check out that video or that series.
Yeah, it was the one. It was when because obviously I used to do just time lapse, and I just used to put subtitles on them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was being encouraged to consider doing voice, and that was the first series that I started to do voice on. And I was running about 3 series at the time, but I just did the voice on that one.
And that's when all the stress started then with sound.
Yeah, definitely. That's when all of the pain and suffering and comments like, "You sound really quiet, speak up," started coming. It's like, I've got one voice. If you don't like it, don't listen to them.
Yes, and I think that's half the problem, isn't it? It's like you can have this is just my voice. I can't do anything else with that at the minute until they bring in. Well, unless you have a voice changing software, but yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, I looked at all sorts of options because when I started doing this, I'm still not, really comfortable with it, but I hated doing commentary. And the way I do them, I would just sit and play the game, and I do the commentary afterwards, obviously for all the time lapsey stuff. But I would have to really get in the right frame of mind. I used to write notes and a bit of a script,
yeah,
and it was horrible. And I looked at kind of the artificial voice software to see if I could do it with that, so that I wouldn't have to actually speak.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It is, and we both said it, and you in your latest Calms and one, how it's such a dark art, and we're not sound technicians, and it does take it's trial and error, isn't it? Today we spent what, an hour nearly.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of it at our level is guessing which setting you've not got right. You know. Also, you get bonus points for the use of the word technician and not engineer.
Yeah, oh, excellent! There you go. I'll add another 10 grand in then.
That's a personal pet peeve working in the engineering industry when someone tells me they're going to send an engineer to fix my washing machine. I don't need someone to come and design the bloody thing. I want them to change the broken part.
Yeah, there's a subtle difference, isn't there? Different
But
levels. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't think your average person doesn't get that difference, and it doesn't bug them. But when you work vaguely in the areas, it's really frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. What was I going to say? Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
That's old age. All the stress of sorting sound out.
Yes, you're right there, I think. What was I going to say? It's completely escaped me.
I was about to say that my plough didn't seem to be working properly because it wasn't showing me the plough graphic, but it's just started again. So it was just gliding through the ground perfectly without, it's ploughing the ground, but it wasn't graphically showing that it was ploughing. It didn't have the soil effect. It's gone again.
Is that a bit laggy?
Maybe
Have you got allow create fields on?
I have. I'm actually creating, no, it's creating the field fine. It's just not got like the bubbling soil texture. So it's just gliding through the ground undisturbed and making field. It's very weird.
Oh, mine's doing that, but every now and again, I think when you get a bumpy bit, it sort of lifts itself up almost, but it still makes the field. If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm seeing. Maybe it's a feature of multiplayer and it's managing the graphics somehow.
Yes, could well
But
be. Could well be indeed.
yeah, someone did point out on my video that I have left a reasonably big chunk to the side of this field that I could have ploughed in, so I might have lots more ploughing to do today.
Oh,
When I
that's
even
unfortunate.
yeah, I didn't think I'd left such a big space, but it's probably, yeah, it's probably a similar size to the amount that I've ploughed already. So I just
Yeah,
don't know if I want that much of the crop that I'm planning to put in here.
oh, poplars.
Yep, yep. I'm leasing a poplar planter, and no, not poplars.
I think you're going to go for a root crop.
You would be wrong,
Oh,
at least at this stage of the game.
yeah, it would be. That'd be. I've got a massive field of sugar beets, and I can only
Yeah.
do it with the little vintage harvester. No, thank you.
Well, no. I think if one was to diversify into root crops, we'd be adding in the good self-propelled little root crop harvester, which
Oh,
would
the little
make,
KS,
yeah,
whatever
the
it is.
KS6B,
That's it.
which would make root crops viable on this scale. Um, but we don't have a planter, or I don't have a planter. You might have a planter now.
Not yet.
Um, but no, I have a plan for this field, and what I was musing about to myself, well, when I was chatting with the mic off for Discord, was that I should have got a mower first and mowed all of this.
That thought had crossed my mind. Yeah.
But I didn't think I would have time now to mow and collect or bale or whatever and get a crop in the ground.
Yeah. It's
And
tricky decision.
yeah, I think at the moment getting some crops in the ground to bring some money in is more important than maybe getting a hay crop off that you've then got to try and ted and row and bale.
And pick up.
Yeah, there's I think that would be an entire day's work, even on a fairly small bit of grass at the moment.
Yeah, we're not quite at Big M motor stage yet, are we?
Maybe next week,
Yeah.
when we decide we can each borrow £1 million and buy half the map
Yeah.
and running around in quad tracks and stuff.
Yeah. I think we don't quite know if we'll get to that stage, but by next week. But it's possible.
Yeah, I've been doing some harvest contracts on Calmsden, and that came with a quad track, and it's been quite good fun to drive a quad track. I very rarely use stuff like that, and I actually think it would fit on Calmsden if I play long enough, or one crops up in the sale. I think a quad track would fit on there.
Yeah. I like you. I've done a couple of. I think they were cultivating contracts with the. Is it John Deere? The John Deere one. Their version of the quad track. I forget what it is. Nine
The
RX.
9RX, yeah,
Yeah. And they're awesome.
Yeah, it's a lovely bit of kit as well. I think I used one of those a bit in 19, and yeah, they're really nice tractors. And it was one of the things I was excited about when I was talking about doing an American series, which I'm not doing for a little while now, is that I was going to play with things like the 9RXs and the quad tracks and stuff.
Yeah,
And you've just bought yourself a Fendt 1050 on Calmston. Was it 1050 you went for?
I think it was. Yeah, yeah. I because so there's a funny story behind that, and the mods as well. So I do what you do now, and I've put individual mod folders. So there was that period of right starting the game up, looking what mods I'd got for a save game, putting them in a folder, and rinse and repeat for all different save games. And I missed some stuff, which when I went back in, so I'd missed the jet wash that I'd got, which was fine. So I added that back in, and then yesterday or a few days ago, I bought the Fendt or upgraded the Fendt, and then one, it popped up in the sale then, the exact same one, and two, when I was tabbing through tractors, I was like, "Where's my John Deere gone?" And I'd put the mod in, so that got added back in yesterday afternoon, I think. So, yeah,
Yeah, and the problem is if you open the game and then save it, it's deleted from the game. If you open the game and you don't save, you're fine.
yeah, exactly.
You can reopen it and it'll be there. But yeah,
When it throws up that warning when you load the game and it says this save game contains these mods, do you want to continue?
yep,
That should have been the hint then, but I didn't read the warning, so my own fault. But it's back in now and it looks just as good as it did before.
excellent. Yeah, it's definitely the way to do things when you're running multiple games to have separate mod. I find anyway to have separate mod folders. It's less of an issue at the moment, although we're getting more of them. But when you start to get lots of script mods, or vehicles that have got scripts in them, even if you don't have them active, if the game is loading them, you can still get the conflicts.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes
And then
sense.
it's even harder to debug it because you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm not even using that mod, but it's loaded when the game starts. So,
Yeah, it's
um,
yeah. I mean, that was when the patch broke everything and trying to work out what was what.
yeah. And I have a, yeah, I used to play on an older, less powerful laptop, and so I had to manage mods because if I loaded too many unnecessary mods, the game performance would get awful.
Yeah, yeah,
Which is why when I very started making videos, I was playing on a little tiny map, and I think I had like 5 or 6 mods enabled.
okay, yeah,
And then I kind of slowly crept up, and it was really when I started playing FS. I think because I went crazy with adding mods, even though I wasn't using them, I could only play on like medium settings with all the
okay,
mirrors turned off and stuff.
yeah,
And then as I got more disciplined with which mods I downloaded, so not going to bestfsmods.com to
yeah,
get the dodgiest mods ever, and just and not loading all of the mods in the world, I found the performance got so much better.
yeah. I know what you mean. I think as well from me coming from console to PC and that thing of people stealing mods and then reskinning them or whatever and not having the permission of the original creator. I became really more aware of that, and now try my best to check where stuff's come from, or just try and stick to the in-game mod hub, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah, I guess that's not a problem when you're on console because you only have access to the in-game mod hub, so you don't. It's very rare that something which uses stolen assets gets through mod hub, and then even rarer that it lasts on mod hub for more than about an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Whereas out in the wilds of PC land, particularly if you just go into Google or if you go into bestfarmsimmods.com, probably 90% of those will be full of errors, and probably 50% will be full of stolen stuff because someone will have done a convert or an edit to someone's mod and they just release it because there's not a lot the modder can do on all of these other sites.
Yeah, no, and it's a shame because the time that goes in, well, you know from doing yours, the time and
Yeah.
effort that goes in to get something actually created, but then through the release process and the rejection and finally getting something passed, for somebody to come along and just reskin it, edit it, and put it on a third-party website must really suck.
Particularly when you've done all the 3D modeling, because I don't do 3D modeling, and watching the guys on my Discord that do 3D modeling, the amount of hours that goes into that to have someone just come along and steal it would be, devastating, I think.
Yeah,
Particularly with those third party sites, you have no comeback really. Although saying that, I know because someone did a really dodgy convert of Maze Plus. They changed the mod description number and then tried to release it as Maze Plus for FS22. And they did manage to get that removed even from the third party sites, I think.
Oh wow, that was lucky then.
It caused them insane amounts of stress because, people were installing Maze Plus for FS22 and it wasn't working. So they were going to Discord to ask the farming agency why their mod wasn't working.
That's really bad.
And then on top of that, there were, thousands of or hundreds of people messaging them to say, is this really real? Have you released this? And it's like, well, is it on Mod Hub? No, then it's not real.
Yeah, bit of common sense wouldn't
Yeah,
go
they're
amiss,
not,
would it?
they release their mods through Mod Hub or through their Discord if they're not going to put them on Mod Hub. Why would they release it through Farming Simulator 22mods.com?
Yeah, exactly. All the effort that's gone into that.
Yeah, it's like have some common sense. But common sense is not so common these days.
It's a flower that doesn't grow in everybody's garden.
I like that. I like that.
You have my permission to use that.
I'll have forgotten it within the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So you feel free to use it again, and I'll probably react the same way.
Excellent. I like people laughing with me rather than at me.
Yep, yep. I will be making the same jokes about the brand of cedar we have in a little while.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'd forgotten about that. I was chuckling at that watching your video back last week.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate brand name, isn't it? And I'm sure in its native country it probably makes perfect sense, but when you translate it into English, a cocklinger jockey is something very different.
Yeah, it is unfortunate how some things translate.
Just checking that you're still on ploughing duty as well. You're not getting ahead of me after my diversion of wasting time chopping down trees.
No, I am still going.
I am glad we don't have lime on.
Yeah, that would be an unnecessary, well, not an unnecessary, but yeah, an additional cost, let's say, wouldn't it, that we don't need.
Yeah, and time penalty at the moment, It's taking a fair bit of time to get these fields ploughed in. I mean, I think I've been ploughing for half an hour now.
Yeah, same.
Maybe 25 minutes. And I'd done a fair bit of this at the end of the last video. So it's, I guess once we've got them ploughed in, they're done. So we won't have to do it again.
Exactly.
Until we buy more land.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, I think actually as well, chatting while we're doing it has made it go a lot quicker. So thanks for that.
Yeah, it is much more enjoyable. Although sometimes you can't beat just switching your brain off and doing a bit of ploughing or a bit of mowing in FS.
Yes, absolutely.
Not mowing in the real world because that sucks, but mowing in Farm Sim is great.
Yeah, it's a lot easier, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I had an 8-meter butterfly mower at home, I could do the garden in about 30 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Talking of butterfly mowers, I think we spoke about this on Discord, but the Millennial Farmer
Oh, yeah.
and the shot of
His,
that batwing mower holding the shed roof up or side of the back of the shed, whichever bit it
yeah.
was.
I've not. I saw he released a video last night of them starting the cleanup, which I've not watched yet. Um, but the one from like as the storm was hitting, that must just be devastating to know that there's nothing you can do. You've just got to wait and see how much of your stuff is left.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I watched that, and you know, the sort of obviously on Facebook and stuff, he got his not his live bits or what, you know, on the stories and stuff, and that was reasonably edited or short clips of the storm and stuff. But watching that video and him going out while it was still reasonably blustery out there, and his reaction, you know, was so real. You know, there'd be people going, "Oh, they, you know, faked that and all that," but it was so sad to watch from somebody that is
Yeah.
so funny normally, and you know,
Yeah,
it's a
and so
massive
chilled
success.
and laid back.
Yeah, and then to see his reaction, and then his missus calls him and said, "You need to get back in here now before we lose you," and he was like, "Yeah, she's got a point."
Yeah, yeah. What was funny was, or not funny, but weird, was when his dad turned up the next day. His dad was like, "Oh well, I'll probably be all right. Let's just have a look. Oh yeah, that's fine." And I
Yeah.
guess that's the experience of living somewhere where that is, although not a regular occurrence, it is something you deal with. I mean, I think they said they had a lot of damage in 2014. I've not watched him for that long or even if he was doing videos back then. But the fact that it is not a new thing for them
Yeah.
is quite eye-opening. And I guess, do you watch Joe Seal as well, the British guy?
I've literally only recently just started watching him.
Yeah,
That
probably for the
fire,
same
yeah.
reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
that someone set fire to his brand new shed full of straw bales, and he was like, almost from the instant it happened, he was like, well, "It's insured. No one's been hurt. It's fine."
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the fire, because I'm guessing you found it the same way when Ollie Blogs posted about it on his video. Um, and the way farmers have, because Ollie went, well, we've got straw bales. If someone can get them to him, he can have them. And it's like that
Yeah,
kind of community is just so cool.
it is. And I don't know, it's nowhere near the same, but you see that with FS as well.
Yeah, that kind of well, in the good bits of the FS community, that willingness to help each other with stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Um, and yeah, obviously there are the toxic bits of the FS community. I'm sure there are toxic bits of real world farming, but just seeing that and like with Millennial Farmer when they went out and just like everyone is out looking around to see how much damage has been done and phoning each other and that kind of thing.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I'm sure it'll be the same that the farmers there will help each other out because there'll be people who have lost. It looked like their planter was probably okay, but obviously they lost the combine headers. There'll be people that have lost their planters, and I'm sure they'll all help each other out so that they can get stuff done.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the funny bits, actually. They were saying about how they got the aerial, is it Prairie aerial on the header for the combine, the soybean
Yeah,
header.
the insurance adjuster.
Yeah, the
Is it supposed to look like that?
and it's like it's a W shape. Is it supposed to look like that?
No, no. Even I know it's not supposed to look like that.
Yeah, and when he said to me, "Dad, oh no, your golf clubs have blown over,"
Yeah,
I did chuckle at that bit.
I think with some of those things, you've probably got to make stupid jokes like that because otherwise you'd be, sitting in a ball in the corner like his poor kids were.
Yeah, rocking back and forth. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, there's probably millions of dollars worth of damage there, even with the stuff that wasn't so badly damaged.
absolutely.
And it's just like, yeah, how do you cope with that and not be, really down and negative?
I suppose it's knowing that, one, your house isn't completely totaled, your family's safe, and it's insured, but there's still the stress level of, like, because I think, like you said, I think the planter's okay. Luckily, I think one of the combines was at the dealer.
Yeah, that's
But also the bin, I think, is probably going to be the most stressful part, because obviously there are big grain bin down for
yeah.
when that.
Yeah, so the thumbnail for the video they released last night was them going at the grain bin with basically a JCB digger.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I'm guessing they're going to have to rip that down there. Some of the others had moved as well, hadn't they? So I don't imagine that you can ease once those things are up. They look so fragile that I suspect that once, if one's been blown off its foundation, that's probably a write-off.
I think it probably is, like you say, because like the way they're constructed as well. Or having watched videos of them time lapsing building them, it's bottom up. No, yeah, bottom up. But the lid is on the floor, and then they jack it up, and then they put in rings, so top down almost, I suppose.
I guess so. They almost build it backwards.
Yeah, but like you say, once that's shifted, I don't think you would move it very easily.
No, it all looks too fragile, and I can understand why they build things like the grain bins quite light because they're just you just want a big volume.
Yeah.
But when you compare the workshop that they've lost to your average British farm shed, which is built out of 300-year-old lumps of stone, I think I posted it on Discord. I do wonder why they if they built their buildings out of something more substantial.
Yeah, would it make a difference? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of a general observation, having been to the States a few times, that most of they build most of their houses just out of wood.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess it's not so much now, but most slightly older houses here are built out of brick and would hopefully survive something like that. You might lose the odd roof slate and that kind of thing, but the bulk of your house is still going to be standing. Whereas when it's built of plywood and 2x4s.
Yeah. And half of me wonders whether it's intentional, so that it's an easier rebuild. Do you know
Maybe.
kind of what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know. I'm sure. Well,
Yeah, I mean, maybe you
yeah.
just accept that the things are going to get damaged and it's quicker to rebuild it. Because they do just generally tend to build things quite, what appears from my point of view, to be quite light construction generally.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it would be interesting to know if anybody is watching from the States, if they, and maybe in that particular region, if they know the reason why.
Yeah. Yeah. Comment down below.
Yeah, comment down below.
You got to get that engagement going on.
I know, I've tried that in the latest Carmson video, so we'll see what comes from that.
I'm not sure how much difference it makes. So I have been through phases of always saying, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff you're supposed to. And I've been through phases where I don't, and I think it makes no difference.
Yeah, I don't know at the minute. I'm still, I guess, I don't know.
But
Building an audience,
yeah, it's the same with sharing your videos everywhere. I've been through phases where I'll go through 20 different Discords and post the link to the video, and then I went through phases where I can't be bothered to do that. And again, I'm not sure it makes that much difference because I know that I generally don't find videos by looking in Discord.
No, there is that, and I'm unsure as to whether it has any benefit at the minute, but I'll give it a go.
I think when you're starting out, you've got to do as much as you can to try and get exposure, because you might get that one person that clicks on the link. But yeah, I just base it on, I think the one exception to that rule is the only person that I realized was making decent YouTube videos through Discord link was when you started posting your Discord links.
Oh, there you go.
Your links in Discord. But generally, and I think that was probably because you were posting them in mine, and I go and look at every time anyone posts in there.
Okay. Yeah.
Just to make sure that it's not something dodgy that someone's posted.
No, that's fair enough.
but I don't generally go to, I'm although I have most of them muted, I'm a member of quite a few farm sim discords, and I don't think I've ever gone looking for someone to watch in them.
No, and I think it's probably pure chance. You know, if some of them somebody picks it up from, you know, just clicking through like you did. You know, if somebody's just browsing, say, oh, what's that pinking? Then yeah, every little helps, so they say.
Yeah, or it's like your random video about grass that went somehow slightly viral.
Yeah, 760 something. I remember just looking. I've said it before on one of the Carlson videos. I remember sitting there looking on YouTube Studio in the morning and going, "What? What's that? 300 something views overnight."
Yeah, and then you trying desperately to recreate how you did that, and I don't think you can. It's so random.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I yeah, I don't know what happened with it, and I just keep doing what I'm doing, and use that little new feature on YouTube and analytics or whatever it's called for searching. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm really bad at that. What I do enjoy looking at on there is what the people who watch my videos search for.
oh, that's
And
sneaky.
uh, mostly it's stuff like tractor or cow or but there's occasionally some really random ones on there.
Oh,
Uh, I'm assuming they're all you.
probably. Oh dear, we won't talk about that one.
No, no, we won't mention the clowns.
It's scary. Right, I've got my jockey out.
You're showing off your cocklinger again.
Yeah.
I can't see it yet, thankfully. I'm desperately trying to sneak in a few more rows on my ploughing because it's really quite obvious when I look at the map how much land I missed and how badly shaped my field is.
I haven't actually looked. Let me just. Oh, it's not too shabby.
Um, but yeah, I think I'm going to do a couple more rows and then I'm going to grab my cocklinger and get some crops in the ground. I might see if I can get them planted and fertilized. Or, yeah, I don't think I'm going to bother rolling. I know you were talking about rolling earlier.
Yeah, I mentioned it. Yeah, but I think for this one, and looking at the state of the funds, I know we could lease and get a loan, but yeah, for this one, I don't think it's going to be too much of a bother.
I think for me, it's a time versus benefit thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and we haven't really got any roller mods installed yet, so you're going to have to go for the base game one. And
Yeah,
that 1% increase in yield is probably not worth it
yeah, that's what I'm thinking at the minute.
unless you're really short of time or really short of things to do.
Yeah, yeah, twiddling your
Um,
thumbs.
yeah, and it feels like that's not going to be the case. I guess actually I do need to crack on with the seeding because I guess we've only got about half an hour left.
Yes,
Because
sounds about right.
you need to be gone by about then, and I need to probably do some work then. And that'll be about an hour and a half long video.
Yeah, with some minor edits.
Yeah, I've just let it run this time, and I am going to time lapse driving to the lumber sell point because there wasn't really anything exciting that happened on that.
You mean you didn't crash into a tree?
No, I didn't fall. There's a bridge. There's a really narrow bridge over the river, and I didn't fall off of that either.
Blimey. Have you changed the sensitivity on your keyboard?
No, I was being really careful. I was also having to talk to some bloke at the same time as well.
It gets annoying, doesn't it?
One of the points, I can't remember if we were talking whether I was just talking to myself, but I was trying to do stuff with the chainsaw, and it's like can't chainsaw and talk.
Oh, I managed to. Oh, but I suppose, yeah, yeah.
I was trying to limb trees up,
Oh,
and
see, I was only
I think
deleting.
I think it was I was trying to talk to you, but I need to hold down the push to talk key to do that, and I can't do that and use the mouse because I can't reach it. I might need to change which key I use so that I can push to talk and use the mouse.
Yes, might be a good idea. Yeah.
I'm calling it a day with the ploughing, with the hope that I can get the seeding should be fairly quick. I would have thought we cover ground reasonably quickly with the seeder, don't we? So
Yeah, I think it is slightly quicker. Yeah.
hoping that I can get this crop in the ground. Fair. Hoping I've got enough seed.
I was just looking at my seed level, to be fair.
You're going double soybeans. Interesting.
Uh-huh. Nice and simple. Cash crop.
Yeah,
Injection, and then mix it up a bit, I think.
interesting.
I'm intrigued to see what you're going to put in.
You'll be able to see in a moment when you look at the map. And what that's really interesting. So I do have a plan for what I want to do in kind of the short term. And I was like, if I talk about it in the video, he's going to see. If I post about it on Discord, he's going to see.
I could just look at the map. Yeah. And I hadn't
Yeah.
thought to look last week at all. And yeah, it's like, how can I see what he's doing? Oh yeah, just look at the map.
Yeah, so there's very quickly not going to be any hiding, and I suspect actually no, it's going to need a couple of days for this crop to grow. But you might guess once you see what I'm planting.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I suspect it's going to mean that our paths, certainly our bank balances, diverge a little.
Oh, interesting. I'm going to take a look.
That is if I make enough cash. I should be okay because we can do the loan as well now, can't we? I was just thinking I need to have the cash, but we can borrow money. So
We can. Oh, interesting choice. Very good idea. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if it's the right choice, but it's my current theory is that I can use this to feed something.
Ah, I like it. Very good idea, sir.
So, yeah, it's not going to be a surprise to anyone that I want to do stuff with animals, really, is it?
No, that's why I
Not
sent
that,
you the.
not that way.
I know. Yeah, I wasn't going down that road.
I know how your brain works.
Ditto.
Yeah, I don't think I can just keep planting and growing crops endlessly. I actually something that I really miss with FS22 is how hands-off doing things with animals is.
Yeah, the mucking
I don't
out.
know if you found that. Yeah, like if you played with seasons on in FS19, you had to feed at least every other day. You had to muck them out because otherwise you'd affect their health. Whereas in FS22, you can feed them once a month, probably maybe once every couple of months. You put straw in twice a year. You don't have to muck them out. It's really not such a satisfying experience. I feel.
Yeah, no, I do have to agree with that. Actually, it's like again, it's console to PC and having horse helper. You don't have to touch them, apart from feeding them. Same with the cows.
Yeah.
I played on, well, it was Attingham actually, and got a reasonable sized herd on there. And the amount of manure that you had to clear was ridiculous. But it was every day, and you were feeding, every day or every other day.
Yeah,
But it,
it was much more involved and engaging, and like on Calmsden, which the equivalent series I did on IFS 19 on Sandy Bay. I would probably spend, because I had a huge herd of cows. I think by the end I had like 1,000 cows on there. I'd spend an hour per game day, maybe feeding, mucking out, bedding. I think the if you had the equivalent in FS22, you'd do that once every 2 months, maybe.
yeah, yeah, it is, and that I think that's got to be a base game change unless you start going in and editing the animals and the scripts associated with them. It's got to be a giant's change, hasn't it? That one really.
Yeah, and some of it will be able to do with the stuff that's coming with Maze. Plus, you can change how much the animals eat and how much straw they consume and things. So you can up that. The one that's tricky, and you could sort of make it happen, but it wouldn't actually affect their health, is you could use one on PC anyway. There are the kind of manure, they're not quite manure pits, but the manure store spawn points that don't have any graphics. So you could dump one of those in the middle of the cow shed. So you had to muck them out, but it wouldn't affect them if you didn't bother.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But the feeding, you could Maze Plus will let us customize that so that with the way Paul has it set up on the multiplayer that they're doing, I think he has to feed twice a day.
Oh, right, okay, that would be
If he
better.
doesn't if he doesn't feed his cows twice a day, they are out of food by the morning.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
And I think that's a combination of he has their food and straw consumption set insanely high, and then he has quite a small trough capacity.
Oh, yes, clever way of doing it. Yep.
And I did it a little bit with Calmsden. I edited how much I could feed the cows, but I still didn't do it enough because, I can feed them once every month, I think, every 2 months. And I need to mix TMR like once every 2 months. And I've only got the Keenan feed mixer. It's not big.
Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, that's the thing as well. I suppose and it's probably quite accurate for that area. But I think the capacity's 150 cows, is it? I think.
Yeah, and
So it's not a massive amount. And like you say,
it's
with the
not.
food the way it is and the size of the trough, you've hardly got to touch them, have you? Which is
Yeah.
yeah,
I expect, that's not a very big cow pasture. So 150 is probably a lot for the size of the cow shed that's there.
yeah,
You probably find the actual herd of cows that they keep is probably, maybe in the 50s.
yeah. I suppose yeah. It'd be
Um,
interesting to find that out. To be fair.
yeah, I mean, when I went and had a drive round, it was awful weather and it was winter, so the cows weren't out.
Yeah,
Um, and the road that runs past the front of the cow yard in the real world is not a public road, so you can only drive around kind of down the main road down the back of it.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the cow pasture was empty, I think, at the time, and I'm
Okay.
assuming that's just because of the time of year that they had the cows inside.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
But that's not a very big shed, so I doubt there are that many cows in there. And if you think someone like Tom Pemberton, who's running a huge dairy farm, has what in the 150s in their herd,
It's about that, isn't it? Yeah.
and he's got 3 sheds.
Yeah. Well spaced out. Yeah.
So yeah, so even 150 is probably unrealistic. But when you're used to playing a game where a cow shed holds 500 cows, however big it is,
Yeah. You just have to adjust your style, don't you? But the feeding, if you were trying to role play, I don't know, a dairy farm, the obviously we can't milk cows, but that sort of right. They get milked, they get fed, they go out, they come back in, they get
yeah,
milked, they get fed. You couldn't do that unless you were just tipping the food down a government drain.
yeah, or just tickling a tiny bit of food in every time.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's a really interesting cowshed that's come out. I think it's from Legacy Ag. I really can't remember that. I posted it on Discord this morning, and that comes with sand as bedding. So there's an extra mod in there that adds sand as a fill type that you can tip onto the map, and you use sand for bedding. but they've also got a two-stage milking machine. So to be able to take milk out, you have to go and switch the milking machine on, and then switch something else on, and you can then take milk out.
That is very cool.
It's a I've only read the description. I haven't tried it yet, but looks like a very, very clever mod, and I think over in the US, I know one of the Canadian dairy farmers I watch, they use sand as bedding because they've got sand on their property, and so they just go and dig sand out of the ground.
Oh, that's
And there are, I don't think they do it, but there are some farms that recycle the sand.
oh,
Actually, no, they might do as well. I know he's certainly been to a farm. I think he went to a farm that did it, and basically they take the sand, they wash out all of the manure, which they then turn into fertilizer, and they then dry the sand out again and reuse it.
that is very clever.
Because it's a fairly inert substance. It doesn't get affected by you know being around the cows and being used for cow bedding. You can just wash it clean and reuse it. It's really cool.
That is very clever. Oh. See, that's something else, isn't it? Like Tom Pemberton uses sawdust some of the time, doesn't he? So,
Yeah.
and obviously with sawmills in the game, if you could, maybe have sawdust as a
Uh,
type.
in 19, I did it. That on the last Let's Play I started on FS19, which I didn't finish because FS22 came out. I did it so that you used wood chips for bedding, and it was really easy in 19 to change it. It doesn't look so easy in 22. I need to have a look at how they've done it in that mod that I've just mentioned.
Yes, not a bad idea either, yeah.
So
yeah.
I changed in 19. All you needed to do was go into the animal enclosure and change straw to wood chips. It was really simple. You needed to be a little bit careful because if you tried to put straw and then wood chips in, it stopped consuming anything, which I think was something that people saw. If you used the straw harvest add-on and you put straw pellets in as bedding,
Yes.
the game stopped consuming anything for bedding.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
So you needed to be a bit careful with that. But yeah, in 19, it was really easy to edit so that you could change it to use anything for bedding. So I did it so you use wood chips. And I need to have a look at that mod actually and see how you do it, because yeah, using wood chips for bedding is quite common in the UK, obviously.
Yeah.
It,
It would work, I think.
yeah, the Pembertons use it when there's a straw shortage. I don't think any of the other YouTube UK farmers that I watch use it. So Joe Seal obviously currently uses straw.
Yeah.
We were talking about his straw barn. Cow Farmer Dan is a Gloucester-based one that I watch, and they use a variety of straws. They use canola straw a lot, I think,
Cool.
which is not a thing in the game, obviously, at the
No,
moment.
not at the minute, no.
So yeah, it would be nice to have more options for that, and yeah, it's something that I need to have a look at. And if I work it out, there'll probably be a video on how to do it, assuming it's not difficult.
Well, yeah. That'd be good, because, alright, we don't play ultra realistically, but if you can get something that fits that particular area of map that you're playing in, as long as you know where that area is, then it sort of adds to the immersion, doesn't it? It's all about the role play.
I think as well for me, it's about variety of jobs. It's endlessly producing bales of straw is not always the most fun thing. Although I've not had much luck with wood chipping in FS22 yet. I tried a little bit of it on Greenlands, and that was one of those things where it got so frustrating that the footage got binned, and I went back to a backup of the save because I downloaded one of the modded ones off of ModHub, and the trees were just flying around in the air as you try and feed them in.
Oh, yeah. The only time I've done wood chipping, well, not even in 22, it was using the the devourers.
Yeah, the cheaty way. There were a couple of really good ones in 22. There was one I think it was by Black Sheep Modding, and it was not the Trex, but it was similar. It was a similar name, and it went on the back of an IT runner trailer, and it had like a really fat conveyor belt that worked really well.
Okay, yeah.
That was really good. I used that on. I think I might have used that on Oak Hill as well. I used that on a couple of series, I think. No, not Oak Hill. I used it on Six Ashes, the GB map.
Yep, yeah.
That was a really good wood chipper. That made wood chipping tolerable because you could basically just drop the log vaguely in the right vicinity and it would work.
That is, see, that when you get a mod like that that just works. I know that sounds daft, but it does what it's supposed to, and it helps rather than hinders things. Invaluable, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I get that some of that stuff is so hard to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
and I think sometimes, and that's sometimes why you have to wait so long. And the Trex has been submitted to Mod Hub, which we're kind of lucky about. The Giants have got a bit more chilled about stuff because someone did a dodgy convert of the Trex, which I've ranted about a bit. And I've seen people posting on Facebook, "Oh no, you can get the Trex, it's out and it does all of this." Like, no, that's someone ripping off Black Sheep Modding's Trex.
Yeah.
But back in 19, if someone had done that, Black Sheep Modding wouldn't have been able to release the Trex on Mod Hub because it exists on a third-party site first.
But they've changed the rules now, haven't
Yeah, I think they've changed the rules. So when I found that out, I got very ranty about that because it's like, why are you supporting this stolen mod, which means we might not get the actual mod?
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's
Um,
that's another thing that we were saying earlier about people stealing stuff. There's I'm sure there is a Discord site, and I can't remember what it's called without looking. I'll have to look later. But it's got all the different categories of the mods, so tractors, trailers, trucks, etc. And people can post in there if they find something that is a rip-off, a stolen edit or whatever, and it helps people avoid getting convicted for using them, which is
that's the real authentic mods or something like that. Discord,
sounds about right. Yes.
the
Yeah.
one that I know it was set up by some of the people in their community, but I think Argsy and FSG are vaguely connected to it.
Yeah, they push it, or they pushed it
Yeah.
over it quite a lot. Yeah.
I think Argsy is a model on there. I'm not sure about FSG, but it's run by a bunch of their community, and yeah, it's a really good resource for certainly if you want to find obscure mods as well, because a lot of the modders that use itch.io will share their links on there.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it can be quite hard to the people that just release through places like itch.io. I find it can be really hard to know their mods exist.
Yes. Definitely.
And some of them have Facebook pages that I follow, and they post on there, which is quite good. Like Tyson Deniz does some really cool little tractors and things, and he always releases them through Facebook or his YouTube channel. But some of the others, I have no idea when they release stuff.
No, and I think that's it, isn't it? They choose to go away from the model, so you don't get that release. You don't see it in game. You don't get people doing preview videos on it. It's like me trying to find the brewery. I think I found that through. I think it was an Argsy stream in the end. Somebody had to post a link to it. I can't remember who it was or how I got it in the end, but yeah, that was an itch.io, and I would never have found that in a million years.
Yeah, and I get why. And having been, although my personal experience of interacting with Giants through Mod Hub has been pretty good, but I get why some people just don't want to deal with it. They either don't want to reduce, if they've got really high polygon models or something, they just don't want to reduce the quality to get through Giants testing and that kind of thing because of the limits that Giants have.
Yeah.
Or they just don't want to jump through the hoops, or they just don't care.
Yeah. I suppose
I get that.
Yeah, you want to create something, but then do you want the rigmarole of somebody saying no, not good enough, or no, we don't do it like that? I suppose I understand that, to be fair.
And also you don't get as many of the work, the not so nice elements of the farm sim community finding it, I guess. And I've been quite lucky that the stuff that I've released, I haven't really seen anything negative about. But you do get, if someone releases something that doesn't quite work right,
Yeah,
you do sometimes get a lot of negative fallout. It's like the fixed crop prices we're running on here, and the graphs look funny still. And it's just how giants have implemented them, and that's why I released a video explaining how it works because I was expecting lots of it doesn't work.
yeah, but that's just not giving it a chance, isn't it? And that's what is frustrating when people just go, "Ah, it doesn't work."
Yeah, but I think there's a whole section of people that don't look or read. They just see a new mod come out and they download all of them.
Yeah, yeah,
There was someone who commented on or put a post on one of the Facebook groups. Why do my greenhouses suddenly need manure and fertilizer and seed and stuff? I was like, that's because you've downloaded the modded versions that need manure, fertilizer, and seed.
yeah,
That's not giants doing something. That's you taking an action.
yeah. Exactly. You've installed it, yeah, and I like those ones. I think they're great.
Yeah, I think stuff like that is brilliant. It just really frustrates me that someone has done something themselves and they just don't own the responsibility of it.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. Because those greenhouses are back to what we had in 19, aren't they now? Effectively, with
Yeah,
obviously
and
the
I'm
seed added in, but yeah,
yeah, I don't know if you've watched it yet. The last Carmson video I added in the hydroponic ones, so they use water and liquid fertilizer, and they produce a lot more.
yeah. No, I have. I'll watch that.
Um,
I'll give it a like.
and so I think the Giants nerfed the base game ones pretty quickly because at the start they were a crazy way to make money, and I kind of got a bit disheartened with them because they just didn't seem worth the time. You put them down, you put water in them, you leave them for half a year, and then you go and empty pallets out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there was a
And
very quick update. Well, that came with that they changed the pallet capacities, didn't they? I think
yeah, because they were quite small originally, weren't they?
either, yeah, either way around. Because I can't remember who it was. Had got something and then it all changed. Or am I getting confused with the little pallets mod? I can't remember. But yeah, I think
No,
they
I
did
think
make an edit to it.
you did, and you used to be able to pick up egg pallets by hand, and then in one of the updates they made them heavier.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, they did. You're right. Yeah,
I think that was when they nerfed chickens a bit and reduced their egg output. I think that's how they did it. I can't remember actually. I did a video on it, but I can't remember. They might have kept the egg output the same, but reduced the price of eggs.
I think that was it. Yeah,
Um,
they levelled the prices a bit, didn't they? Because it was
yeah,
almost, it was
and
ridiculous.
they
Yeah,
they were insane when they released them, and so yeah, they did need a bit of adjusting, but um, I've forgotten what we were talking about apart from moaning about them changing things.
me too. We were on about mods and edits and stealing and
We were,
thinking, I
weren't
think.
we?
Yeah.
Which is a reoccurring topic. I've got one for you, which is my current pet peeve, which I have mentioned in every single video I've made since they announced it. The Kubota DLC and the fact that the passenger element for multiplayer is locked into the DLC. I think that is awful.
It is a bit naughty, I think, and
Yeah, I
something
leaving.
like that where you could maybe take it or leave it. But if they're going to start doing that for other game features, then that is really bad, I think.
That's the bit that annoys me. It's not necessarily that it is the being able to sit in other vehicles in multiplayer. It's locking a game feature behind a paywall. Because what's the next game feature that gets locked behind a paywall? Is it the update to precision farming?
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know,
Where does it stop?
it,
Yeah.
yeah. Is it? We've decided. We're going to work with the guys from Realismus, and we're going to implement real seasons as a DLC. But it's behind a paywall.
Yeah, it costs you a fiver to advance to the
Yeah,
next stage. Yeah.
it's for me it's possible. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but it feels like the start of a slippery slope. I have no issue paying for DLCs to support the game and keep the game alive for longer. I think the vehicles that are in the Kubota DLC look kind of cool. Not so much the Antonio Carrera one, but I do not have a problem with supporting giants to keep FS22 around for 3 years, maybe again, like 19 was, so that modders can create cool content as they spend more time with the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What I don't want is having to pay for a game feature.
No. Agreed. Completely agree.
Yeah. I think the vehicles look really cool. I'm stupidly excited about the Kubota skid steer. I don't know why. I think the Kubota tractors are quite cool. So the cow farmer Dan, the guy that I've mentioned, he has a Kubota on his Gloucester-based cow farm.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So you can probably expect to see that one of those coming on my slightly different part of the Midlands-based cow farm.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure where cow farmer Dan is in Gloucestershire, but yeah, I will probably add one of those to Calmsden at some point if I have the means.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I say, I like them. I like the look of them. I like the colour. I like an orange tractor. But yeah, it's just something a bit different, isn't it? Like I say, like the skid steer, you've got the JCBs or the Bobcat or Lizard, depending on what platform you're playing on. And yeah, it'd be good to have something different.
Definitely. And I guess the other one is Oxy has. I don't know if you've seen Oxy's post on Court Farms, which is, I think, getting close to being ready to do some testing on for his testers. I think that's what
Yeah,
the post said.
I think he's releasing pictures on the 1st of June, I think.
That's it. He was releasing pictures,
Yeah.
which, yeah, when he released a picture of a bit of the PDA, and I probably spent half an hour scanning round roughly the same sort of area because I think he lives around somewhere near, well, where Calmsden is, and I'm pretty sure that Court Farms is based on a real farm again or a real bit of the world.
I think
But
it is.
I could not find where it was.
Oh,
Um,
he does do some amazing stuff.
he does. I think Calmsden is one of my favourite maps, and partly because I love maps that are based on the real world. The same as Holmold in 19 was based on a real farm, and that modelled a big. It was a 4x map. It modelled a big part of the real world with all the fields laid out correctly and stuff.
Okay, cool.
And it was really cool. And I really like when modders take a bit of the real world and turn it into the game.
Yeah. It I don't know. And, watching your tour of the real Calmsden and then going on to Street View myself, it's like, wow. I don't know how many hours it took. It'd be interesting, actually, for map creators to put a data sheet together almost of how many hours spent creating a map like that.
Yeah, I think Oxy says it takes him about 6 months to make a map.
It's ridiculous.
How many hours a day that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
But because when Calmsden came out, a lot of people started asking if he was going to re-release any FS19 maps, and it's like, no, because making the new ones takes so much time.
Yeah, I did see that,
And
I like as well that
although,
he's doing new stuff.
yeah, I would love to have seen something like Oakfield. That's one of my favourite maps in FS19. I played on there. I did 2 game saves on there. It's one of my favourite maps. I'd love to see that back in FS22.
Yeah, I'd like
Again,
Chellington.
yeah, Oakfield is loosely based on a real part of Gloucestershire. At least the layout of the roads is.
Okay, I don't think I went on that one.
It's and you're from vaguely around the Midlands, aren't you?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have you. It's based on I can't remember which A road it is. It's one of the A roads that runs from the M4 up to Gloucester.
No idea.
to a place called the Air Balloon Roundabout.
Okay.
And I think the road network is based on that, although the rest of it is not.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, yeah, I get what you mean.
There's a roundabout with a pub on the corner, exactly the same as there is in game.
Very clever. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just think it's. Don't get me wrong, fictional maps are brilliant, but there's something about being able to picture it, go on to, like say, Google Maps, or go and drive to the place and go, wow, I play on a map that looks exactly like that.
Yep. Do we need to be wrapping up? Did you say you needed to be gone by 11?
I've got 2.5 more passes, so I think that I'll get this done, I think, and then yeah, say cheerio.
Okay, I've got a few more than that, but I'm not bothered if I don't get it finished because I'll just try and pick it up before we progress on to the next game day next time.
Okay, cool. All right, well I'll speak to you in a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Cool. Catch you in a sec. Well, that was fun again. We've done a lot more chatting than I thought we would, but I do enjoy the fact that it just flows and we're not sat in awkward silence. And we've had an incredibly productive day. We've got this lot ploughed and we will finish the seeding. So next time will be the fertiliser and possibly harvesting the first patch of soybeans we put in. And then going forward, we need to have a bit of a think about what we're going to do. The setup we've got does say another crop, or combinable crop for now. But you know, going forward, we obviously got the load now. We can have up to 75,000. We can lease, so there are options. So I think I'm going to finish up this patch here, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Take care. Okay, cool. Well, another excellent episode, if I do say so
Yeah,
myself.
I think I agree with you. I think it has been an hour and 40 minutes of pure delight for people to listen to.
I think I am.
Hopefully, if we can both edit the sound so it sounds okay afterwards.
Well, yes, there is that. Yeah.
But by the time people have got to this point, if people even make it this far through a video, they'll have known whether we've got the sound edited or not. I'm not looking forward to uploading an hour and 40 minutes.
No, I know. I think, yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? It's just, yeah. Did you hear me take a screenshot then?
No, I didn't. I think this might be a very freeform video, and I might just make sure that the sound looks vaguely balanced and just go with that. I don't think I can sit through an hour and 40 minutes of me talking.
No, same. I'll have a play and see what we sound like.
Yeah.
But hopefully, sound is good.
Okay.
We are getting there.
We'll same time next week, hopefully.
Yes,
And
it's a date.
more progress. Oh, jeez, you had to, didn't you?
I did.
I've got my head in my hands here.
Oh dear. Cool. Well,
Enjoy the rest of your day, and
you.
I'll chat to you later.
Take care, mate. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.